Hello and welcome to the Retirement and Money Show. So, you're worried about cow fees eating up your house, and someone's told you to gift it to your children now to protect it. But what they didn't tell you is that this could actually destroy your children financially. So get this wrong, and your children could not only face court action, they could face forced sale of the property, or even a worst case scenario, they can even end up bankrupt. And you could end up paying for care with no house left to sell. So in this video, I'm going to show you the hidden legal consequences your children could face if you gift them your house. First, I'll explain the liability transfer that most people don't know exists. Then I'll walk you through the real world consequences that your children could face if you give them your house. We'll also cover the other risks you're going to create beyond just the care fees, and I'll show you the safer legal alternative that could actually help protect your family. And by the end, you'll hopefully know exactly why gifting might not work as easily as you thought, and you'll understand what the consequences could be to your children, and hopefully you'll have a proper idea of what strategy you can use to protect your home in a legal kind of way. So, my name's Zach Hussain. I've got over 25 years experience helping people prepare for retirement. So let's talk about liabilities. And here's what happens when the council investigates your gift. Well, they look at three things. Did you know that you'd need care when you gifted the house? Was avoiding fees a significant reason for the gift? And could you reasonably expect to pay for care? And if they decide yes to those three questions, they're going to see that you've deliberately deprived yourself of these assets. That's the technical term under the Care Act. Now, here's the bit that actually shocks people. The council can seek to recover unpaid care charges from the person who received the gift up to the value that they benefited from. So this is section 70 of the Care Act 2014, and the person who received the gift is called the transferee. And what that means is that the council can chase them directly for the money. So your child didn't just receive a house. What they actually received was a potential debt that they knew nothing about. But the enforcement process is even worse than you might think. A key question I often get asked is, well, what is it that the council can actually do? Well, the council starts by sending your child a formal demand for payment, and your child could be pursued for unpaid care charges linked to the gift, and this again will be up to the value that they benefited from, and that could quite easily be thousands every single month. And if your child can't pay, the council applies to the county court for a judgment, and that basically means court action in your child's name. And the council can force the sale of the property to recover what's owed. So here's an example of how this can play out, so I can give you a bit of a feel for what the issues are. So in this scenario, John transfers his £500,000 to his son Michael. The council decides that John owes £30,000 in care fees, so not an insignificant sum. Michael can't pay, so the council forces the sale of the house. So if you split the house between multiple children, each child is liable in proportion to what they received. So if one can't pay their share, unfortunately the council can still force the sale to recover it. So what age are you actually planning to retire? Drop it in the comments, because it'll be useful to know what you're planning to do and how this may interact with what you want to do with your house. Remember that the council liability isn't the only disaster that you might be creating for your family. I'm going to cover some of those other risks next. Once you've gifted that house, you've lost control of it completely. And again, this is something that people don't fully appreciate, because basically your child now owns it, and anything that happens to them happens to your house. So if your child gets divorced, that house is going to be part of their matrimonial assets, and their ex-spouse could get half of it in a settlement, which is something you obviously would not want to happen. And unfortunately, if your child goes bankrupt, that house becomes part of their bankruptcy estate, so creditors can force the sale to pay your child's debts. And unfortunately, there's one other thing that people never really think about, but it is a risk that you do need to think about, and that is, what if your child dies before you? See, what happens is that house goes back into their estate and not back to you. So you could end up in a care home with no property and no way to get it back. And the permanence is what catches people out, because once you've made the gift, there's no changing your mind. You can't get it back if your circumstances change. Unfortunately, it's just gone. So what should you actually do instead? Well, that's what we're now going to cover. Okay, one of the key things. Here's what you can do that's actually legal and does actually protect everyone. So the first thing is understand the 12-week property disregard. And what that is when you move into a care home, the council ignores your property value for the first 12 weeks. And what this means is that it gives you time to arrange proper funding without having to make any panic decisions. And the second thing you can do is to look at what's called deferred payment agreement. So basically, these are council loans that are secured against your property. So what happens is that the council pays your care home fees and the debt is repaid when the house sells. So this means that you keep ownership and your children aren't liable and you get proper care. And it's an alternative approach to using equity release, which is something people are looking at more and more nowadays to pay for care. So the third thing you can do, well, if you want to gift money for genuine reasons, do it properly. And again, get professional advice before you do make any transfer, and make sure that you document the reason for the gift clearly, because that evidence may be needed later down the line. The fourth thing, well, consider attendance allowance if you are over state pension age. So this is a benefit that helps with personal care and currently worth about £110 a week. The key thing is that it's not means tested, so your savings do not affect it at all. The fifth thing you can do is speak to a financial advisor who specialises in later life planning. So the Society of Later Life Advisors has accredited specialists who understand care funding. Or you can visit the UK Care Guide website, where on there you'll be able to find details of later life specialists and people that can support you if you need that help. Now, being through these 5 actions, now let me take you through what I think are the exact steps that you need to take next. So before we move on to the next steps that you can take, let me just do a bit of a quick recap. And the first thing to remember is that gifting your assets doesn't protect you from care fees. Remember, the council can still count it as notional capital even after you've given it away. And second, your child becomes personally liable under Section 70 of the Care Act. And that means that they could face court action and a forced sale of the property. And third, you lose complete control of the asset once it's gifted. So here are the 5 action steps that I think you should look to take next. First, before you make any property decisions, speak to your local council's adult social care team. And what they can do is they can explain your specific funding options. Number 2, get a financial assessment done to see if you'd qualify for council support, because this will tell you exactly where you stand. And number 3, well, if you're considering gifting, speak to a solicitor who specialises in community care law. Number 4, check whether your property would even be counted under the disregard rules, and we've got other videos on this channel that look at that. And number 5, if you've already gifted your house, get urgent legal advice without challenging a deprivation decision. So, out of interest again, which of these risks surprise you the most? I'd be interested to know if you want to leave a comment below. Finally, if you would like some more information, you can visit our website at financialeducation.co.uk, where I break down all the different ways that you can apply for funding. And finally, if you did like the video, we're grateful if you did give it a like and do subscribe to our channel, where we have lots of content related to retirement and later life planning. Finally, good luck and goodbye.